Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing? Today, I'm going to show you how to do minimal graphics in lower thirds using a free browser-based system called Photopea. Now, if you're not familiar with Photopea, think of it as Photoshop, but totally free, and it works inside of your browser. Now, some of you use Canva, and that's fine. You can use Canva, but the difference between Photopea and Canva is that if you want to save a transparent PNG file, and that's the type of file that you use for your overlays, you have to upgrade to use the pro version of Canva. Photopea is totally free and it's incredibly easy to use and it's really powerful. And I'm going to show you how to do your overlays for your live streams and your videos, specifically lower thirds like the title is about. So I'm going to jump into that in just a moment. First, I'm going to come in here to the chat to make sure everything is working and make sure yeah, hey, you are. Hey, Dana, how you doing? Nice to see you in here. Sweeney Dunson, how you doing? Nice to see you as well. And then after this is over, I'm going to stick around. So if you have any questions about graphics for your live streams, you have any questions about live streaming in general, tips and tricks and things that can help you get started as a live streamer, or about YouTube in general, because normally on my YouTube channel, I help mobile content creators succeed on YouTube. That includes making content and live streaming on their mobile phone. So if that can help you out, I'll stick around at the end of this to answer any questions for that as well. Hey, Ross Brand, how you doing? Nice to see you in here, sir. Marion, howdy from Houston. Well, hello there in Texas. I hope you are doing well. So I'm curious for people in the chat right now, who uses Photopea? I mean, what do you use? Do you use Canva? Do you use Photopea? Do you use Photoshop? I'm curious what graphics program you actually use to make your graphics, because you're going to be surprised how easy Photopea is to use. And by the way, this is not sponsored by Photopea in any way, shape, or form. I just choose to use Photopea. Well, I use Photoshop as well, but I know not everybody wants to pay for Photoshop, but I like to recommend Photopea because it's free. It's free and it's easy and it's incredibly powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up. Now, if you saw the thumbnail for today's live stream, you saw that I'm talking about lower thirds. And if you don't know what a lower third is anything that shows up on the bottom corner of your live stream. Particularly, you can use it to put your name, you can put your website, you can put your social media handles, you can put your title, you can put the title and name of your guest. You can use this for anything you want whatsoever. And I'm going to replicate what I'm showing on the screen right now. That's the first thing that we're going to make today. Additionally, you could also use the same technique that we're going to use today to make something like this. And I'm putting a shameless plug on the screen right now for my site, Streamer Templates. So if you don't want to make your own overlays, you can go to streamertemplates.com and you can purchase entire packages with tons of overlays and tons of backgrounds that you can use Photopea with to customize. So you can make something like this as well, or something like this, or something like this, or you can build frames around your image. Anything you want, the sky's the limit. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Go ahead and open up Photopea. Give me 1 second here. Share my screen. Boom. Okay, there it is. Photopea.com. Now, the browser that I'm using is the Chrome browser. You can use whatever browser you want, but I've found that on my PC, Windows 10, Chrome seems to work the best for Photopea. The first thing you want to do when you're opening up Photopea, when you're trying to do something for video or for live streaming, you want to go on and tap on New Project. When you tap on New Project, you want to look at the width, and you want to look at the height, and you want to look at the DPI. Your DPI should be 72. That's standard for internet. Your width should be 1920 pixels, by the way, PX, and your height should be 1080. Now, if you're live streaming in StreamYard and you're streaming up at 720, that's fine. You still want to make this in 1920 by 1080, because what's going to happen is when you save this file and you upload it to StreamYard, and I'm going to show you how to upload these when we're finished. When you upload these to StreamYard, even if you're streaming at 720, StreamYard is automatically going to resize the image and make it usable for you. So you always want to future-proof the graphics that you make, because one day, maybe you don't have to pay for an upgrade for the 1080 on StreamYard. So future-proof your content, make it at 1920 by 1080. So this is the first thing you want to do. 1920 by 1080, 72 for the DPI. Now, this is the important part, because it's going to be a transparent overlay. That means you have to be able to see through the graphic. Any graphic that's not visible, you want to see through it so you can see the screen, right? You have to make sure that right here, background is set at transparent. This part is key. If it's white, it's not going to work, right? You have to make sure it's transparent so you can see through it. Once you have this set up, you tap on create. Then it's going to open up a canvas that looks like this. Now let me zoom in for just a second to confirm that it is transparent. Anytime you see a canvas like this with Photoshop or Photopea and you see the checkerboard background, and I hope that this isn't compressing so much during a live stream that you can't tell that it's a checkerboard. But when you have a checkerboard background, that's their way of telling you that it's transparent. So this is a 1920 by 1080 background. And the first thing we're going to do is tackle that lower third that I showed on the thumbnail. And look, this is so easy to do. You're going to love how easy this is. So what you want to do is look over on the bottom left-hand side over here. You're going to see layers. And you have the background, obviously. This is your transparent layer. But what you want to do is add a new layer. And that's where we're going to add the little colored blocks of text. You're going to come down over here to this little file that has a little fold on the end. That is a new layer. You're going to click on that, and it's going to create layer 1. And by the way, let me know if I'm speaking slow enough. I have a tendency to just rapid fire through stuff. So I'm going to jump into the chat real quick to make sure that I'm going at a speed that everybody can follow along with, because one of the things that people will talk about on my channel sometime when I do tutorials is like, hey, slow down, slow it down. Hey, Pia, how you doing? White Noise Studio, how you doing? Ross Brand says he uses Canva and Keynote. Yeah, Keynote's great for that too. But I started to learn Photopea and use it to customize your templates. Right on. Seems to work well on an iPad Pro using Chrome. Hey, Courtney, how you doing? Nice to see you in here. All good with the speed? Okay. Yeah, if I get going too fast, just let me know. Doing great. All right. Good speed. All right, perfect. I will carry on then. All right, you have your canvas open. You have your first layer, okay? You want to build everything in layers. So everything that we do, every step that we make, we're going to create a new layer. And I'll explain the importance of that here in a little bit when we have a few layers built up. So this first layer, we're going to build one text block. And by one text block, I mean one little square graphic that we can put text on, rectangle. So we're going to go up here to the top to the rectangle select right up here. We're going to click on that. Then we're going to come down, and by pressing on my mouse, and I'm holding as I drag this out, and you see that it's creating a shape. Now you can make this any shape that you want, but I'm going to make this shape about that big, and then I'm going to release. And you're going to see that it has the little dancing ants that are going around it, right? This is highlighting the area that we want to work with. So the next thing I want to do is I want to put color in this. And the color that you add right now isn't really that important because we can come back and change this at any time. But in order for you to see the color, so it's easier to see what's happening here on the screen, I'm just going to come up here to the paint bucket, which is right here, and I'm going to fill in that little box. Now, I do want to say that if you see your tool that says gradient, that's fine. Right-click on it, and you can change it to paint bucket. Once you have paint bucket, down here is the colors, by the way. If you tap on any of those colors, you can change those colors to whatever you want. I'm going to keep this one red for right now. So we have the paint bucket. We have our color. Then I'm going to bring the arrow, the cursor over, and I'm just going to tap on that box, and it's going to fill it red. Okay? Very easy. Next thing I'm going to do, by the way, make this any color that you want, and you can change the color of this at any time. The next thing you want to do, come over to layers over here on the right again, go to the layer that we just added, and if you click on and off this little eye right here, it will turn off the layer. But we want to highlight that layer. We want to right click on that layer, and we want to come up and hit duplicate layer. And that's going to make an exact copy of this layer. Okay, so now we have a layer copy. Now I'm going to use the up and down arrow keys on my keyboard. While it's selected here, I'm going to use my up arrows, and I'm just going to, oops, sorry. before you hit the arrow keys, you want to go up to the move tool up here. Make sure the move tool, which is the little pointer arrow, make sure that is selected. Then use the arrow keys, and I'm going to just move it up. Now I'm going to move it up until I see a line break between the two. I don't want a line break between them. I want them to touch. So I'm going to move it up. You see right there's a line break. Now I want to dial it back a little bit. And I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to use the central key and the plus key on my Windows. If you're a Mac user, I'm not sure what that actually is. Apologies for that. I'm going to go back and I'm going to make sure that I bring this right back down so I can't see through it. Now, this is my style. If you want to have a break between yours, you can do that. That's entirely up to you. I'm going to zoom back out here. So now what I have is 2 layers. I have the top layer and I have the bottom layer. Let's start changing the colors. The first one I want to change is the bottom layer. So I'm going to click on the bottom layer over here on the right-hand side. I'm going to come down to EFF at the bottom here of the layers, down here. I'm going to tap on that. That stands for effects. I'm going to come up to color overlay. I'm going to click on that. Then it's going to open up a box that looks like this. You can change your opacity and you can change the color. Change this to any color that you want. For this tutorial, I'm going to keep it white, but if you wanted to make it yellow, you could make it yellow, aqua, green, whatever you wanted. I'm going to keep mine white. Okay. Then I'm going to select OK. So now what we have is we have the red top and the white bottom. Now, in the thumbnail, you notice that there is a gradient on the red top. And by gradient, I mean it starts with one color and it slowly fades into another color. And you can do that here in Photopea as well. And it's really easy to do. So we want to select on the color, on the background, on the layer that we want to use, the red part. And by the way, you don't have to use a gradient. This is just a stylistic choice, a creative choice. Go back down to effects. Come up to gradient overlay. Now, as soon as gradient overlay opens up, you're going to see gradient and you're going to see a color. You might not see red and black because it's going to be based off of the colors that show down here. But if you open that up, you can see different color choices. That actually looks kind of nice, but I'm going to keep mine red and black for right now. You can make yours whatever color that you want, but keep in mind this is going to change based on the colors you have down here. So if you want colors to match your brand, what you want to do is come down here and change all the colors in the red and the black, and you do that by simply tapping on them, changing the color, and then hitting OK. So I'm going to keep it on red and black. Then what I'm going to do, because you can't really tell that there's a gradient right now, I'm going to come down here and you're going to see scale and off X and YX, or off X and off Y. And I'm going to start adjusting these to try to get some sort of a gradient fill, right? To go from one color to another. I don't want it too drastic. I just want it to be subtle, just to add a little bit of depth to the actual image. Something that normally you wouldn't even notice. But when you look at it, when it's finished, somebody might say, oh, that looks really nice. A slight gradient usually looks better than just a single color. So I'm going to adjust this just slightly, just to get a little bit of a color in there, a little bit of a gradient, just like that. That's all I'm doing. And by the way, you don't have to do this part. All right, so now we have the two text boxes, right? Easy enough. Next thing we want to do is add text. And before we do that, I am going to hop into the chat to make sure that I'm not missing any questions, like this one. Can I do this on an iPad Pro? Yes. Someone just mentioned earlier on in the chat that they're using the Chrome browser on an iPad Pro. So open up the Chrome browser on iPad Pro, go to photopea.com. You don't have to register for an account. It is free to use, free to save. There's no watermark. It's fantastic. I'm going to hit a couple of questions here. I love StreamYard. Yeah, so do I. We use it live for podcasts. I've used it for interviews. Very powerful. Right on. StreamYard is all the rage now. I'm seeing it everywhere. It's good. It's not good. It's great. The great thing about StreamYard is, especially if you are new to live streaming, and you're looking at, how am I going to live stream? There's all of this gear, there's camera switching. Do I need an Elgato Stream Deck? Do I need all of these things? The answer is no. You can StreamYard.com, sign up to StreamYard. And by the way, if any of you watching don't have StreamYard, there's a link to StreamYard down below. It's all browser-based, just like Photopea is. And you just connect your camera source, you connect your audio source, very straightforward, and you're up and running. It's super easy to use. I'm new to StreamYard. All right, welcome to the yard. Hey, John, nice to see you in here. And again, the speed is good. Okay, John Paulum asks, can these be saved and changed down the road, or do you have to start over? Yes, you can save these. So once I make this graphic, I'm going to show you how to save it two different ways. The first way is going to be saving it in a way that you can edit later. That's going to be saving a PSD file, and you can open that PSD file up back in Photopea or in Photoshop. And when you save a PSD file, it saves all of the layers in a way that you can edit them. The second way I'm going to show you how to save this file is through a flattened image. You're going to flatten everything and save it as a transparent PNG file. That is what allows it to be saved as an overlay, so you can put it on top of your video or on top of your live stream. Go back over here. 1 second. Hey, Josephine, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right, back to Photopea. All right, we have our two images, top layer, bottom layer. Let's add some text. So since we are building up in layers, think of layers as building a cake, right? You have to build a foundation, which is your background. This is your transparent background. Then each individual layer of the cake are things that you add on top of it. And the positioning of the layering is important. So if I want to add text on top of the graphics that I've added, I want to make sure that the text goes on top of those images. If it goes underneath them, you're not going to see it because those graphics are going to hide them. So you want to build things up in layers in the order that you actually want to see them. So to add text, it's really easy. We're going to come over here to the text box. Is a little T. Tap on that right there. Then we're going to use your mouse and just tap wherever you want to tap. And it's going to allow you to type in text. So I'm just going to type in my name. I'm going to go all caps. Why not? Actually, I'm going to do a mixture and then show you something really cool. So Dee Nimmin. So I just wrote my name. Now you can see it's a mess. It's all over the place. You can't see it. Not a problem. I'm going to show you how to fix that. You want to come back up here to the pointer tool, the move tool, and then come down and just grab your text and move it into place. It doesn't have to be exact. We're going to fine tune that right here in a second. Then I'm going to go back to the text tool. I'm going to tap on text. And I want you to look right up here. This is where you can justify the text. You can justify it to the left. You can justify it to the right. Or you can center the text up. For example, if I hit justify to the right, let me move this over here so you can see it. It's going to move the text based on where I want to justify it. Now, I want to justify all this to the left because this particular lower third is on the left side. So I'm going to justify it to the left, and then I'm going to bring it back. And what that's going to do is anything that I change here with the text, it's the starting point, right? So it doesn't matter what I type, it's all going to start at the same point, and it's not going to move all over the screen. Okay, so we have my name. Next thing we want to do is we want to add the font choice that we want to use. Now, when you're adding graphics and fonts to your live streams or to your videos, I recommend not using a fancy looking font. Don't use something that's cursive. Don't use calligraphy. Don't use something that's difficult to read. Use something that's bold, that's simple, and that's very, very easy to read. So what I'm going to do is come up here. This is going to allow us to change our fonts. I'm going to tap on that. And you're just going to use your mouse in the scroll, and you're going to scroll through to find a font that you want to use. Now, I have one in mind, one that I want to use. It's Babus. Where is it at? Babus, right here. That's the one I want to use. I'm going to tap on Babus. And it loaded. Why is it not changing my font? 1 second here. Make sure I was selecting the correct file. Where is Babus? Where did you go? They have a lot of fonts in here. They have a lot of fonts to choose from. But keep in mind, use a bold, easy to read font, because once your graphics, once they get compressed, once they go up onto YouTube, and more particularly because people are watching from their mobile phone. So anytime you're making graphics, and includes making thumbnails, bold, easy to read text, because one, somebody's watching on a phone, everything is really small, so you want it to be easy to read. And number two, you don't know if someone speaks English as their first language or not. So if you have a font that's, I call them fancy pants fonts, right? Where it's kind of difficult to read. I mean, if English is your first language, it's no problem for you. But if English is your second language, or maybe your third language, a fancy font might not make it that clear to see things. Plus, they're looking at it on their phone. So keep it clear, keep it simple. So I've changed the font. Here's my name. Now, I don't like the size of that. It's a little bit too big, so I'm going to click on the type tool again. I'm going to go up to size, and they have a slider that allows you to change the size of your text. So I'm just going to size that down to a size that I want to use right there. Right? That looks great. Simple, right to the point. You have your name. Now let's put a website on there, and you can put your social media handle, you can put whatever you want. What you want to do is come over to the layers, tap on the layer, that's your text, right click on that layer, and duplicate that layer, the same process that we did when we were adding the text boxes. So I just duplicated the layer. I'm going to make sure that the move tool is selected. Then I'm going to use my arrow keys, and I'm just going to push it until it goes down into the white. Now, it disappeared. That means I need to change the color of the text, and that's not a problem either. What we want to do is come back to the text tool, tap on the text tool, come up to the top here, and you see it's white, and then choose the color that you want it to be. And if you use your cursor and you put it on an image anywhere, it's going to change the color to whatever you click on. So if I want it to be the color of the background up above, I can click on the color of that background and it'll change it to that. Or you can make it black. I'm going to make mine black. Then I'm going to make sure the text tool is selected. I'm going to select the text, and I'm just going to put in a website. StreamerTemplates.com. Now, this is obviously very large. No problem. I'm going to come up to size, click on size, and I'm going to, I'm going to click off first and go to Move Tool. Sometimes it's a browser-based version. Sometimes it is a little bit clunky. If you're finding that it's not doing what you want it to do, click off of it, go up to Move Tool, then come back down and click on the Text tool. You know, it's free. You get what you get. So I'm going to resize it. I'm going to scale it down about right there. I'm going to go back to the Move Tool, and I'm just going to use my arrows on the keyboard to bump this up. Now, really simple. We have your background. We have the name. You can have your website, social media handle. You can tell people to look in the description. If you have a product to sell, hey, look in the description, download your ebook, whatever you want to do. And you don't even have to make this a lower third. You could have made these graphics span the entire width of your screen and put it at the very bottom. That's really easy to do as well. For example, if you wanted to do something like this, how I just put this overlay down here at the bottom, get live stream overlays, StreamerTemplates.com, you can build something like that as well. You don't have to just make it a lower third. You can put this all the way across the bottom. You can put it dead center. You can put it anywhere you want, up in the top, top left, top right. It's entirely up to you. So now that I have this, I want to save it. And we're going to save it two different ways, like I mentioned earlier when I was answering John. We want to save it one way so we can edit this later, right? What if you have a guest coming onto your show? What if you've changed the website? You have something new that you want to promote. You want to be able to open this up so you have nothing changed and be able to edit that. So the first thing you want to do is come up to File, and you want to save it as a PSD file. Name it whatever you want, and then save it. And then save it. When you save it as a PSD file, when you open that file up, all of the layers are going to be intact, so you can edit them at any time, change the text, you can change the colors, you can change the gradient, change anything you want. Second way you want to change this, and this part is key, when you're doing overlays specifically for videos and for live streams, you have to save this in a transparent PNG image. So go back up to File, Export as PNG. Now it's going to export this as a transparent image, and you can see it still has the checkerboard behind. And you want to make sure your quality is cranked up to 100. It's going to make sure that everything looks great. You want to double check your width and your height, 1920 by 1080. Everything should be set at this. When you open this up, it should be 1920 by 1080. Quality should be 100. Then you want to save it. We're just going to call this third new because I'm going to bring it into StreamYard. Okay, so we've saved this particular graphic once so we can edit it later, and two, so we can actually import it into StreamYard, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So let me stop sharing this screen. Give me just a moment here, and before I do that, I'm going to hop back into the chat. Pia says, so you have save as a PSD for future use and a PNG for use on StreamYard. Yeah, exactly. And you don't only have to use this on StreamYard. You can also use this on your videos. So if you're uploading videos to Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube or Twitter, wherever you're putting your videos, if you want your brand to have the same images, right? You can go into Photopea, you can make them all and then save them out accordingly. So your branding looks the same. So if you're live streaming on StreamYard, your branding looks exactly the same as if when you're uploading videos to YouTube or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever you're going to upload your videos. Practical Samrat, can anyone please order a laptop for me? I'm from India. I don't know if there's any takers in the chat that would like to order a laptop for Practical Samrat. Oh. So a Practical Samrat, here's what we're not going to do in the chat. This is not going to turn into a please subscribe to my channel. That's not what this stream is about. This isn't a growth stream. This is for the StreamYard community. These is live streamers who want to learn how to make graphics for the channel. So we're not going to get into a subscribe to my channel, that sort of thing. We're not going to do that here. John says, I saw Owen's video on your favorite brother, and he had an overlay in his video for the entire thing. It looked pretty cool. I had it on my checklist to do today, and I'm happy to see this video. Yeah, Owen's amazing. Owen is absolutely amazing. And in terms of an overlay, like I'm showing this one right here, right? You can build, let me see if I have something like this in here. Give me 1 second. You could build something like, let me grab something that I already have. Give me 1 second here. Live. I'm going to pull up one of the templates that I have for, this is one of the templates that I made out of, for streamer templates. So I have an entire, there's all sorts of graphics into that, but you can do single frames like this as well. So you can frame in your shot, and you can put text down at the bottom. That text could go to your website. It could be a call to action to something else. It could be your name. It could be your social media handles. It could be whatever you want. And you can do the exact same thing inside of Photopea, multiple layers, right? Like I would have one layer of this purple background. I would have another layer building up the border around it. The border would be a little bit trickier if you're not familiar with how to do this. Another layer for the actual text background here at the bottom, and then another layer for the text. So this would be multiple layers. But you can build all of that inside of Photopea. This works for lower thirds. Any sort of a, Gerardo, any sort of an overlay, like I was just showing, any sort of an overlay that you want to show in your live stream or your video, as long as you save it as a transparent PNG, it's going to work. Right? Like I just showed that's a transparent PNG. You can make that in Photopea using the same technique, right? A little bit more advanced, but using the same technique. You can build something like that. You could build something like that, that's on the thumbnail, and that's what I'm going to show you how to upload this in a moment, just for those of you who don't know, who might be new to StreamYard. You could build something like this in Photopea. The key is you have to save it as a transparent PNG file. If it's not a transparent PNG file, when you upload that, you're not going to be able to see through it. You're not going to see behind the graphics. That's key. So we want to upload the graphic that we just made to look something like that. Give me 1 second here. I want to be able to find that. Where did I make sure? Where did I save it? I just saved it. I saved the graphic somewhere. Give me 1 second. Make sure you remember where to save your graphics. Well, I have so many folders on my computer. I'm curious, am I a desktop folder hoarder? Does anybody else have an entire desktop just full of folders? Or am I alone on that one? Or where did I put this desktop overlay samples? Okay, I found it. Give me 1 second here. Desktop overlay samples. Give me one moment here. Where did it go? There it is. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again. Now, what's going to happen when I share my screen, because I'm sharing StreamYard with my webcam, so you're going to get this weird tunneling effect briefly while I show you how to add this overlay. So ignore the camera part, and we're going to look over on the right-hand side. And I'm going to do this just briefly. StreamYard. Sharon. Okay, yeah, ignore the camera part. What you want to do is look over here on brand, right? So you have comments up here at the top, you have banners, and then you have brand. And then what you want to do is come here to overlay. And all you have to do is tap on the plus icon to upload overlay, find the image that you just saved, and then you're going to upload it, which is right here. And you can also single tap on the text underneath it, and you can change the name, which is really handy. So I'm just going to call this third. Name it whatever you want. If you have a lot of overlays, if you name things in a way that makes it easier for you to understand what's going on during your live stream, so it makes it easy to find it. And then all you have to do is tap on this, and when you tap on it, it's going to show up here at the bottom. And if I stop sharing, there it is. Now, this is larger than I would actually want to use. Right, and turn this on and off so you can see. This is bigger than I would want to use for my own live stream. So what I would probably do is I would go back, and let me show you how to resize this actually. So I'm going to turn this off. So if you make it, it's too big. Whoa, that's way too big. Here's how we're going to fix that. Go back to screen sharing. Give me 1 second here. Share my screen. Chrome tab, Photopea. We're back here. Okay. So if you find that this is too large, that's not a problem. Here's how you fix it. You come back over to layers. Hold on here, let me move this. You come back over to layers over here. You want to, while holding the shift key, click on every layer that you have. Not the background though, don't click on the background. Just click on all the layers that you want to resize. Once you've selected them all and they're all highlighted, and I'm not sure on a Mac how to do this. On here. Oops, wrong one. By the way, if you make a mistake, come up here to File, and then tap on or click Undo, and it's going to undo any mistake that you made. Hold on here. Give me 1 second here. Why is this not working? Remember I said it's a browser version and it can get a little bit clunky. That's exactly what's happening right now. So give me one moment. Why is this not working? Give me 1 second. Well, bear with me. It's not working. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, sometimes with free, you get what you get. Usually Photopea works fine. Just every now and then, because it is browser-based, you will find that it's just a little clunk here or there. And that's another reason it's important to save this as a PSD file. And it's a good idea to get into the habit of saving your work. Like say you make a, you add one part, add one layer. And you're like, okay, I'm happy with that. Save it as a PSD file. And then just save it along the way in case there is some sort of an issue. Yeah, this is not actually allowing me to do what I wanted to do. Sit with me for just a moment here. Not sure why this is happening. It's wanting to merge them. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Yeah, it's not actually letting me select them. I'm not sure why. This is not allowing me to select them. All right, so what I'll have to do, I'll have to come back. This could be a browser problem, or it could be just a possible problem with Photopea right now. What I'm wanting to do is group them all together and select them, and then shrink them down all at the same time. And it's just not allowing me to do that for some reason right now. And by the way, this little icon down here at the bottom, this little chain link, this allows you to group everything together, right? You can group everything together so you can move everything together, right? Once everything is grouped, go up to the move tool, and then everything moves together, so you don't have to worry about that. So if you wanted to move something up here, you can move something up there, over here, put it in the middle. So this is really great too. So let's say you wanted to build some sort of a starting soon screen. You could make a graphic starting soon. You can make it as big as you want. You could put it anywhere on the screen, and you could still be behind this if you wanted to, or you could add a background layer that was not transparent and have a starting soon image that comes up to let people know that you're getting ready to start your screen. Your stream. Yeah, this is not working for me. Let me try this. Hold on here. Why are you not working for me? Yeah, normally I can click all of these and select them all, and I can group them together. But for reasons unknown today, it's not allowing me to do that. So that's okay. What we're going to do, if you can select all and move these, if they're linked together, you can resize these together. So earlier on, when we were adding the text, I mentioned that it doesn't matter if you write in all capitals or not, because here's something that's really cool. If you come over here, you're going to see the CHA. That's character. And if you come down here, this is how you can change how your text actually looks. So when I typed this in, I typed it, I believe it was all uppercase, I believe. But if you have some lowercase, and I apologize, they're doing some construction outside. If you did type in lowercase, you can come in here, you can bold it, you can make it italicized, you can turn the lowercase uppercase, you can control all of that inside of here. Very easy. And I do apologize, it's not allowing me to select all to size these down, but you can, if you can do that on your end, select all, grab them all, and just squeeze them down, and it will do that. I'm not sure why it's not allowing me to do that right now. I'll try one more time here. Nope, not doing it. Okay. So much for that. So much for that. So that's the basics of how this works. And I do apologize that that's not, yeah, it's not working for me. I'm not getting any of the, hold on here. Nope. So if you tap on Central G, what it does is that creates a folder, and it'll put everything in a folder. And that can be really handy as well, because if you're doing a lot of layers, like you have graphics, you go, okay, well, here's a picture of me. I've cut out a picture of me. I've put it in here. Here's my lower third. Here's this. Here's that. You can stick them all in individual folders. That can come in really handy for that. Let's see here. In the info box, there are pre-made themes. I'm willing to buy a theme. I need to know if those adapt when the scene changes. Okay, so great question, by the way. StreamYard does not currently automatically change graphics when you change the scene. You have to do that manually. And that can be a handful if you're running the show by yourself. For example, if I am in this shot and I change to a two-person shot, for example. Now, if I'm just doing this by myself and I have a lower third on here and I want to change to a two-person shot, the way I would do that in StreamYard is I would take off the lower third. While I'm speaking, I would set up my background, and I would set the correct background. So when I added the guest, then the two cams popped up. then the proper background is in place. So no, StreamYard does not automatically choose them. You do have to do everything manually. And that can be some work, right? If you're not used to doing that. So if you do download the themes that I have on Streamer Templates, or if you do make your own, keep in mind that keep things as simple as possible. Only upload the themes, or only upload the images that you know that you're going to use, and think through the transitions. I find the best way to transition in StreamYard between one scene to another scene where you have to change graphics in the background is to go full screen on one individual speaker, one presenter. So that could be you, or that could be a guest, because when you go full screen, you're hiding what's happening behind you, right? So go full screen, go to your backgrounds, choose the correct background that you want to use. Then when you exit full screen, your background's going to be set up. If you had 4 guests, you could select a 4-guest background. Hide it by going full screen on you or a guest, right? So that's kind of, use the full screen option as a transition. Thanks to the hardworking moderator for cleaning up the spam. There you go. All right, so I'm going to go through here. So that's the basics. It's really easy. And of course, this is a beginner tutorial. This is for people who are just getting started. Maybe they don't want to go with Canva, or they don't want to pay for the free or the upgrade on Canva. They don't want to pay for Photoshop. This is a bare bones tutorial to get you started so you can have some great looking overlays on your live streams and your videos. And it's really easy to do. You know, get creative with it. Play around with the gradients, play around with the colors, move things around. And you can resize them. Like I said, it's not working for me currently to resize it inside of Photopea, unfortunately. You know, that's too big. I wouldn't use that. You could use that if it looks good for you. For me, I think that's a little bit too big. I would probably size it down, move it down a little bit like that. For me, I would probably run with something like that. And again, you can use it to make any sort of design that you want. All right, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer questions about graphics for live streams, about StreamYard, about live streaming in general, or about YouTube. I'll answer questions for a little bit. Thank you for your answer. I'm not going to buy. Yep, you don't have to. That's why I did this tutorial. I made this tutorial for people who wanted to make things on their own. Hopefully in the future, that would be really cool. And I see this suggestion popping up a lot with StreamYard to where they can connect images to actual transitions. Now, you can do that using another piece of software. For example, if you use OBS, OBS is a free streaming platform, right? You can use OBS and use the OBS virtual cam. It's a feature inside of OBS. All of it's free. You can build up individual scenes inside of OBS. So you can say, okay, this is a camera source. This is an image or an overlay that I want with that camera source. You can add a new source and you can build your scenes that way. Then you can click on those scenes, and using the virtual cam, it's going to send that signal to StreamYard, and it will change those in StreamYard. It's kind of a workaround. Unfortunately, that doesn't work with guests in the same way. But if you're doing like a one-man or one-woman show, that's a very easy way to do it. I've done 68 StreamYard shows since March. Whoa, that's fantastic. Trying to switch between overlays, images, videos, guests, layouts, comments, banners, etc. It can feel like you're an air traffic controller at times. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. And this is one of the questions that I get asked all the time over on my channel is, if I have a smaller channel or if I'm just getting started, should I go live or should I wait? My answer is always go live. Even if you go live to one person, go live to one person. You don't have to go live for 30 minutes. You don't have to go live for an hour. Go live for 15 minutes. Go live for 10 minutes. What's important is you learn how to do all of these things, right? You have to learn how to present. You have to learn how to switch things up, how to add the images, how to make sure that everything's going right with the stream. Is my audio working? Are the graphics showing up? How do I highlight a comment, right? You have to learn how to do all this stuff. And I can assure you it's a lot easier to do with 1 or 2 people in your live stream than it is when you have 50 people or 60 people or even 30 people in your live stream. So yeah, if you're thinking, hey, should I go live? Absolutely, go live. Even if no one shows up, you have to learn how to do all this stuff on the fly. I thought Nick said you shaved off your beard. Maybe he was talking about your head. So I had grown for like 2 months a pretty shaggy beard, and I trimmed it down. I trimmed it down maybe 5 days ago. I grow hair really fast, and it's Pia. I'm sorry. Every time Pia comes into the chat, we go into beard talk. Clifford English, how you doing, sir? Going live is addictive. It is. It is. The great thing about going live is that instant interaction with your audience. Like I said, even if it's one person, 2 people, 10 people, 30 people, that instant interaction is amazing. Okay, so for those of you who don't have StreamYard by chance, there's a link down below. You can get StreamYard. It's the easiest live streaming platform to use. If you're interested in not making your own templates, you can go to streamertemplates.com. This is my website. I have template packages over there. I actually have 2 free basic template packages. You can't edit the text. You can add your own text. Here's the key. If you download my free templates, you can upload them into Photopea and you can add your own text. Because the free versions, everything is flat. You can't edit it beyond changing the colors inside of Photopea, but you can use Photopea to add your own text. So that's something you can do as well. Hey, Celine, how you doing? Hey, Dee, do you know anyone specialized on cinematic video editing? You have videos, but you need editing process. You mean you want to hire a video editor or you want to learn about video editing? If you want to learn about video editing, I would follow someone like Jevon Dovey or Levi Allen. Those guys are vloggers, they're YouTube educators, but they do have some great tutorials on how to edit. If you're looking for an actual video editor yourself to hire them, look on Reddit. Look on Reddit, go to the YouTube forums there, look around that you're looking for an editor, go to Twitter, reach out to people, reach out to Jevon Dovey, reach out to Levi Allen, reach out to some of the filmmakers on Twitter and ask them if they know anybody who's looking for work that can edit cinematic video. Somebody will be able to direct you to someone. I personally don't know anyone who's hired or who's looking for a job right now, but in terms of cinematic stuff, Jevon Dovey, the guy's a rock star, so is Levi Allen. Gerardo says, do you think StreamYard increases the number of guests in the live? Now the maximum number is 10. I don't know what their plans are in the future, but I would say if there's a large demand for people more than 10 guests, I would say it's probably something that they would consider. I know that the 2-camera option right now, just you and a guest, that's the most popular version of StreamYard. Single streamer, two people streamer, that's the most popular version. I would say if there's a great demand for it, go to one of their StreamYards and ask them if they can add this. They're great about adding new features. So I'd say if there's a demand, possibly. Gerardo, it says that you do Excel Live with a lot of Excel experts, and sometimes we have more than 10 guests. Okay, so one thing that you can do, Gerardo, is my understanding is that you can allow as many people as you want into the backstage area. Right. So if somebody comes on as a guest, you send them the link. People can come in and hang around backstage, but you can only put 10 people on the screen at the same time. So you can have multiple people waiting, but only 10 of them can actually be live at the same time. This sounds nice in a way. Hey, how you doing? Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I hope this was helpful. If you did find this helpful, give this a thumbs up. Share it out to somebody who you know might need this tutorial to help them out as well. And if you have any other questions, when this live stream processes, it will come back and play as a video. Go down, leave a comment. I will be coming back and checking in on those comments, and I can answer any questions that you have about live streaming, YouTube, graphics. I can answer your comments there. So thanks again. I hope this was helpful. And by the way, if you guys use this technique to come up with any graphics, make something and tweet it to me, show it to me. I want to see what you guys make. So thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you.